For many, many years, my mom was a very faithful woman. Her joy, I think, in everything she did was found in motherhood, whether it was a child. I have three younger brothers, and we've lost two of those, but she had four boys and, geez, probably 12, 13 grandkids, another whole brood of great grandkids. And she literally was a contributor to raising every single one. And so this legacy of motherhood and who she was and how wise she was, and she loved you with an amazing amount of capacity, and she loved you with food. If the first thing she'd ask, "Come on in, sit down, you want something to eat," right? She's just a very sweet lady. I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky, so the story about all this happened on a trip me coming home, right? So I'm originally from Louisville. I've lived in Cabarrus County nearly 30 years, raised my son there. We're, my family is located in Concord. And I was going home basically to help out with them. They're elderly. My mom was 82 when she passed, dad's 86. And they had some doctor's appointments. I was trying to help my brother. So I pinch hit a little bit and come into the house, and they have a home with a basement. I come into the basement, work from there, take care of them.
In Kentucky, correct?
Yeah, in Kentucky, in the Louisville area. And on the 14th of November, I took a flight and came over to see him. And I went down to visit um, some other family members. There's 11 guys. We all got together. It was the opening of their hunting season here in Kentucky. And this is where we all got exposed, and everything started from that.
Now, Steve, to what you want to get into, of course, if you want to stop at all, you let me know. You're in complete control of this interview. I want you to know that. But take me through how quickly it went through her and what she battled in those few days before she passed.
All right, so let me explain. It's really kind of interesting. We all had the same symptoms, one or two extras here and there, but all of a sudden you started to feel a little queasy and nauseous. And this is how you knew something was coming on. And then if you had to describe this, this is like the worst sinus infection and stomach virus you had rolled up into one. You get a high fever, not a high one, but a little more than low grade, 100 degrees. Started feeling really, really tired, and you didn't really want to do anything. Typical flu type symptoms. And then you had a terrible stomach virus where you had terrible diarrhea and you just really couldn't keep hydrated enough or fed enough, and you just have to go through this. This went on for like 7 days. A couple of my nephew and a couple cousins and my brother lost taste and smell during all this. Mom contracted this at the house while I was kind of fighting through this thing. I had to take care of both her and dad, and they both got the same type of symptoms, but they didn't lose taste and smell. They started getting those, hacking cough and, fever. And I'm really doing everything I can to try to get them through the symptoms. And we're treating it over the counter. We're not really getting any suggestions from the doctors other than you're doing the right things. But, this could go bad quickly if you don't stay on top of it. And then I would say we had gone through this. It was a good week, I guess, from the onset of symptoms. And I'd say the symptoms really started showing themselves on Tuesday, the 17th. So that's what, 3 days after our exposure. And the symptoms started showing themselves. And then about a week into this, you either do two things. And this is what I've learned. This is not a medical thing. This is reality. You either started to get better and the symptoms subsided and the fever stopped and you go 3 or 4 days. But then the compromise, the week of the family, then you started to crater. And dad did okay first. Mom did not. By Sunday, the 29th, I I was concerned she wasn't going to make it through the night. And we called the ambulance because she couldn't walk to the car to go to the hospital. Mom was still having problems. She was struggling. They weren't able to get control of her breathing. Her heart was starting to show problems because of her prior conditions, honestly, Hunter. And then she started to fail. and we weren't able to go see her. One of the things about this quarantine is you can't be with your loved ones when they're in isolation on a COVID floor or COVID ward. And what's really scary here, the hospital they were in has 6 floors of rooms. 2 full floors were all COVID patients. This is the reality of this disease and the impact it's having on a really good hospital in a big city. And they were all this way across town. When we were able to say goodbye to her on the 30th, and we said our goodbyes, and she passed the next morning with no one from home, nobody she loved beside her. A beautiful nurse, had her same first name as my mom, Shirley. She was there with her when she passed, but we weren't. That's hard to live with. I'm asking people to look across the room at the pictures you have of the family that you love and really ask yourself, who do I want to lose by just getting together for Thanksgiving or Christmas when I can have them next year if I don't do stupid, reckless things? If I had to speak to that, it's like, stop thinking about yourself here for a second. This isn't about getting away or coming out of quarantine or going stir crazy. This is life and death. This is legitimate common sense. It's not about politics. It's not about some ridiculous election. This is a global pandemic affecting people and lives worldwide.